Let's do some predictions leading into Colorado at Kansas. And I got to start with the two coaches who have more in common than I think many people understand. Coach Prime gets started as a head coach at Jackson State, where, to put it mildly, did not have the resources that he always required to be competitive, and yet flipped that program around into a winner in short order. Won SWAC championship, made the Black College Football National Championship twice in 2 seasons, at a place where there was a water crisis for the better part of 3 months. Yet and still, fielded a football team that was good enough to win conference championships and to be one of the best stories in all of college football. It is a man who, despite everything we know about him as a professional athlete, has come up the hard way, right? It is a man who has been very clear about what he can do in the world and what he plans to do in the world. I don't mind telling you, the man walked on his last year at Florida State because he could. George Steinbrenner said, I'm going to pay you a lot of money right now to be a New York Yankee. Did he flinch at losing his scholarship to Florida State? No. Did Bobby Bowden flinch at having Deion Sanders play football for him, not on scholarship? No. Worked out for everybody. He won the Thorpe Award. He got drafted in the top 10 first round, and he has since become the only player, the only person in history to play in the World Series and the Super Bowl. And by the way, he has the rings to show for this. Then he has his boys, and he has become this man that we know of as Coach Prime from Prime Time. Where I think Lance Leipold has something in common with Coach Prime is he also came up the hard way. This is the man who got started coaching in 1987 at Wisconsin Whitewater, was quarterback's coach at Doane, and then slowly but surely moved up to, big-time Nebraska Omaha, where he began winning at a high level. Since then, goes to Wisconsin Whitewater again as a head coach, and he's won 6 national championships at the D3 level, which is non-scholarship, but that also means you have to have your evaluations right, and you have to know exactly what your players are capable of and understand that the financial aid that they're receiving is for their academic prowess and not necessarily for their football prowess. And it was only after Travis Goff really started to sink his teeth into what he was going to be as an athletic director that he was able to bring him to Buffalo, where he turned the Buffalo Bulls, not the Bills, the Bulls, into a really great program and eventually lines up at Kansas, where I thought it was a match made in heaven. Like, it's a football program that was down and had been down for the better part of a decade. And in 2 years, he had this program not only winning, but we expect Kansas to be good. We expect Kansas to be a ranked football team. That's why going into this year, it's been a letdown, right? They are not good. They're 4-6 as they get ready to prepare to take on a top 25 opponent in Colorado. But that's what Prime did. He showed up at Colorado where they hadn't done a whole lot of winning, and he quadrupled the win total in year 1. And now he has an opportunity to get them to 9-2, 10-2 by the end of the season, and play in the Big 12 championship with a win. The thing about Kansas, though, is that they are as dangerous as anybody in college football right now. They knocked off Iowa State and undefeated BYU in back-to-back weeks. The reason that is important is because Kansas had not beaten back-to-back ranked opponents ever. It hadn't happened. It also speaks volumes about the Big 12, where you could stack a schedule where in November, you've got to play back-to-back ranked opponents without Oklahoma or Texas as a part of your program or part of your conference. Now, we're looking up at the top, and you're talking about BYU, Colorado, Arizona State being the 3 teams that we expect to have an opportunity to play for the Big 12 championship in a little bit of time. Now that you know a little bit more about Lance Leipold and Coach Prime, so when you hear them talk about each other, you can believe what they are saying. I think we got to talk about the quarterbacks. Like, I've taken some flack for saying that Jalen Daniels is as talented as Shedeur Sanders. I still believe that. I've always believed that. Jalen Daniels was wearing a chain in the Big 12 before Shedeur Sanders arrived. Jalen Daniels also beat Texas. Jalen Daniels was a Heisman contender for about a month last year. Then he gets hurt, and he gets hurt again, and we're waiting on him to get back to form, and it looks like he's there again. Like, he threw 8 interceptions in the first 5 games of the season for Kansas. He's thrown just 2 since. When he is playing his best football, Kansas is a top 25 team. Quentin Skinner is an outstanding wide receiver. Devin Neal is one of the best tailbacks in the country nobody talks about. But with Jalen Daniels at quarterback, you have an opportunity to beat anybody that you play. That is what I think makes him as good as Shedeur Sanders. You put Shedeur Sanders on any football team, He's going to make you better, and he's going to give you an opportunity to win. You give him a little bit of an offensive line, and Shedeur Sanders will pick you apart. Jalen Daniels is a little bit more elusive, a little bit faster than Shedeur, and he's got a live arm. He's not as accurate, but his game is very much, if you give me time to do my magician thing, I don't like Shedeur, I will make things happen. I think in this game, for Kansas to win it, he's going to have to play perfect. He can't and by perfect, I mean he can't put the ball on the floor, and he can't throw it to other people. And he's got to go for at least 250 yards passing and running. However he gets there is however he gets there. And I think he's got to be responsible for at least 4 TDs, whether that's running or passing. Distributing the football, moving the football, taking advantage of opportunities when you have the rock. For Shedeur Sanders, it's the same as it's been all year. It is a man who's probably going to throw the ball between 35 and 45 times. Probably going to need to throw for 300 yards. Might throw 1 or 2 interceptions, but he has the unique ability to flush those things and get back on the horse and go back to riding. He's completing 70+% of his passes. He's thrown for over 3,000 yards. His next passing TD will be the school record for passing TDs in a season. If he goes for 300 yards and 3 TDs in this game, I think that's the way in which they could win, especially if he doesn't turn the ball over. At running back, there's a clear advantage for Kansas, both on the offensive line and at the skill position. Devin Neal is that dude. He, in any year, can go for 1,000 yards. In any year, he can be your best tailback in the country. Not this year, but any year. You get what I'm saying when I say, if he gets to the second level, he can give you problems. I can't wait to see Shiloh Sanders and Cameron Silman-Craig having to come down as an 8th man in the box and meet him in the hole, because he might have been able to bounce out, get past this linebacking crew. That is going to be the matchup that I watch. If Devin Neal can rush for 100 yards, that might be just enough to beat this Colorado team that has been really stingy with its run defense. Like that's what they got to show against Utah that I was so terribly impressed about. Is I know that Utah runs the football. I know that Mekhi Bernard can run all up and down Big 12 opponents, and Colorado stopped them from doing that and was able to get home consistently. So if Devin Neal can crack that run defense that Robert Livingston has put out there, it might be a long day for Colorado, and that could mean a win for Kansas. On the outside, I think there is a clear advantage for Colorado. Will Shepard, LaJohntay Wester, Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn if he's healthy, but even if he's not, Draylon Miller. You've got a really great core. This is one of the reasons why Shedeur Sanders has been so good. It's one of the reasons why Dan Mullins has said that's the first quarterback that's got to be off the board in 2025 if the NFL's drafting people. You could see what he's able to do given just a little bit of time and some talent on the outside. He's going to give you an opportunity to go win the football in the air. And one of my favorite, on live mic conversations that we got to hear is him looking at a wide receiver saying, hey, can you catch this? And he's going, my ankle hurt. You go, no, can you catch this go ball, right? Because that's what he was going to do. He's going to put it up. He's going to say, go get it, right? Will Shepard has shown he can go get it. Jimmy Horn has shown he can go get it. We already know who Travis Hunter is. He can go get it, right? Draylon Miller's breakout game for Utah. I think Isaiah Augusta is going to have to be a hood ornament for this. If he can get you some found money, that's great. If Dallin Hayden can get you some found money, that's great. I also think the matchup to watch, though, defensively for Kansas specifically is going to be Mello Dotson and Kobe Bryant versus that wide receiving core. Mello Dotson's got 5 interceptions. Kobe Bryant's got 4. They are guys that expect you to throw the ball at them. And if you do and you miss, they have the ability to take it from you and take it all the way back. They're that good. I think down the middle of the field is where you're going to be able to do your damage if you're Shedeur, if you're Pat Shurmur. You're going to look for these slants and these posts that get you matched up on safeties or nickels. I don't know how much you want to challenge on the perimeter, though you're going to, right? Because you believe that you got Will Shepard and you got Travis Hunter, and you get man-to-man, you're going to see what you can do, and you're going to see who's the better football player out there. But if you are Kansas, you're willing to take that, right? You want them to go after your strengths, and that is definitely a strength for them. Defensively, that has been the difference for Colorado this year to last year. Like, Robert Livingston has put together a defense that is limiting people to about 22 points per game, that has made it really difficult for you to run on them, and can get home with 4 rushers. Doesn't need to send an extra one. They are just a couple of sacks away from setting the single-season record for sacks in a season by a Colorado defense, and that's pretty outstanding. It's pretty cool. we're also getting to the place where the Big 12 is becoming so much more explosive and fun, and the back and forth. And yeah, they're getting handsy, and they're getting a little bit chippy during this time of the year, and everybody's giving their best game to Colorado. I expect that to be the same at Arrowhead Stadium when you're hosting Kansas. So prediction for this one, I have Colorado winning this game. I'm going to go 34-30. And it's going to be back and forth. I'm going to call 2 lead changes here. 250 total for Jalen Daniels. 300 passing for Shedeur Sanders. Another 100-yard receiving performance for Travis Hunter, which will put him over 1,000 yards. If he gets a pick and a TD in this game, I think that's the way they win. So we're going to go 34-30 to Kansas. I think Kansas is a good football team, but I think Colorado is just that much better.